All right, let's talk about cognitive psychology and cognitions. Sometimes you'll hear me say cognitions are a synonym for thinking, and that's what I want you to typically think of when I say cognition. But in truth, cognition refers to any mental activity that requires processing of information in the brain. It's a lot of things. It's not just your thoughts, it also can include things like memory. But for this video, I want you to be familiar with three specific types of cognitions. And the first is mental imagery. When I ask you to think about how to get from one place in the mall to the other, you probably don't just poof, give me a word. You probably visualize the mall and you visualize yourself walking through it. So what you've done is created mental imagery, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a visual representation of some piece of information that your mind is capable of producing. The second type of cognition I want you to know is that of a concept. And a concept can be a pretty vague term, but basically a concept is some idea of what something is. See how totally specific that is? But there are concepts like love. There are concepts like fruit. It's just a way of understanding something. And related to the concept is the third type of cognition I want to talk to you about, and that is a prototype. Prototype sounds very scientific, and it is. A prototype is an example of a concept that pretty much sums up what that concept is all about. So, in business and engineering, you might be designing a car and you make a prototype. That's the first example that hopefully represents what you were trying to achieve. And that's what a prototype is in psychology in terms of cognitions. The prototype is a really good example of this overall concept. So if fruit is your concept, then a prototype might be an orange or an apple. Because when you look at an apple, you go, fruit. So that prototype represents that concept. So again, this is a little vague in terms of definitions, but the three types of cognitions I want you to know are mental imagery, and concepts, and prototypes.